One question. Are you guys actively trying to corner the entire movie market?
We are trying to. As long as they're good movies and have good stories, then we are trying to corner that market.
Okay, obviously we're talking about Jurassic Park. You've just sort of detailed exactly where this fits into the whole franchise as it is now. How did that come about? Did you guys sort of propose that was the perfect point? That was almost like a little dangling story thread that you could actually just jump onto?
Yeah, when we did our story brainstorms, it always kind of came back to that canister. In the movie, they lingered on that shot for so long that it burned it into your brain, and you never really knew what happened to it. We thought that was a cool way to explore the story of Jurassic Park without retelling events that you've already seen.
And by obviously not from the footage we've seen, it's very cinematic approach. Have you guys sort of altered your the sort of classic adventure style to fit in with the Spielberg trilogy?
For this particular model, we sort of did that. When we start our games, we really want to start with that story and start with the movie. Think about what kind of movie it is and how can we best bring that experience to an interactive experience. And so for that, the regular point and clicks that we've done in the past didn't really feel like it was going to match up to that same experience. So we wanted to craft something new that would, and still be able to have those adventure game elements and still be able to also have the thrill and adrenaline that Jurassic Park had.
Okay. And again, we saw the sort of start of the game where you come across Dennis Nedry's Jeep and Dennis Nedry's organs, or what's left to them. And like you said, it's very sort of set pieces, very action packed. Does that sort of give way to sort of more explorative elements as well as the set piece sort of style?
Yes, we kind of explore the scenes in a little bit of a different way. Again, we are trying to make this a cinematic experience. So we kind of approached it a little bit differently. Instead of character exploration where you're actually moving your character around and walking him around, you'll never see that in a movie. They'll cut out those moments and cut the camera right to where the interesting things are. And that's how we're approaching that exploration here, too. You're kind of positioning the camera to where the characters are going to go and interact. And that's how we switch characters around as well. We kind of treat it as camera cuts and presentation cuts to keep it very cinematic. It's something that's kind of different, a little bit experimental, but I think it really makes it feel cinematic, and you're still in control, and you're still playing a game.
Well, you've got quite a varied cast appearing in the game. Now, obviously enough, you're matching up against the likes of Alan Grant, Ian Malcolm, Sarah Harding. How do you feel about designing and sort of conceptualizing characters to sort of fit in with the Jurassic Park style?
Yeah, that was an interesting challenge, because we wanted to have people who felt like they belonged to Jurassic Park, but not kind of make mirror images of the characters we've already seen. So we started with somebody who was already in Jurassic Park, the movie, just kind of briefly, and that's Jerry Harding. He's the chief veterinarian. He was the guy that you saw attending to the sick Triceratops. And we wanted to start with him because he's an employee of the park, and he's there with his daughter, and they kind of get trapped and left behind on the island, and so they're trying to survive. And from there, all these other cast of characters kind of made sense. The guy who was coming in to meet him for that canister, and who he's going to bring with him to try to get that canister. And then later in the series, we introduced the rescue team who was sent in to bring up the survivors of the island. And so all these cast of characters do feel like they're supposed to be there. They're not just, they're not just thrown in for the sake of getting new people in. They make sense, but they are very different characters, and those relationships play out in a very different, interesting way as well.
You mentioned during the presentation that you've had access to the Jurassic Park files, shall we call it that, so it's all the songs of the dinosaurs, the designs, the musical motifs and such like that. And whilst I want to sort of talk about that wider, I want to sort of specifically focus for the moment on the actual dinosaur designs themselves. Using, for example, the T-Rex, the Jurassic Park T-Rex ended up being the template for every other dinosaur appearing in cinema history for the 10-15 years afterwards. How have you guys went about actually recreating the dinosaurs from the movie in the game?
Well, we've really stuck with what the Jurassic Park 1 did with the dinosaurs. Those become, like you said, the blueprint, the iconic dinosaurs. And changing the dinosaurs too much from that would feel like it was going in the wrong direction. So we've even gone as far as consulting with some of the same paleontologists that they have. Kevin Padian, which I still forget which which museum he's the curator of, but he was one of the official consultants for dinosaur behavior, and we talked to him as well, so we wanted to get that accurate kind of behavior for the dinosaurs while sticking to the canon of Jurassic Park. That being said, Jurassic Park at the time kind of was educational to people, telling them about the modern thoughts on dinosaurs, like more bird-like than lizard-like was a big theme. In the 20 years since that's come out, there's been some new thoughts on how dinosaurs react, or how dinosaurs have evolved and their behaviors. And we want to make nods to the new science as well, while not conflicting with what was established in Jurassic Park. So we find interesting ways to kind of tell why those things might be a little bit different and how they kind of discovered those differences.
Like you say, well, one of those is sort of the marine park that you'll be showing in the game. Which is your chance to sort of show off some dinosaurs, some elements that perhaps weren't in the movies. Now, you read any film magazine or any sort of like writing about Jurassic Park, there's always a big thing about how they recreated these authentic dinosaur sounds, mixing different things and stuff like that. So, obviously, you got the sounds from the movies, but here's your chance to do your own specific species, so to speak, and obviously not for their own specific sounds. How did you go about recreating these new dinosaur noises?
The noises? We've got an internal sound design team who has been recreating these sounds very much in the same way that they were created for the movie. They went out and listened to a library of different animals that make sounds that feel like they match up, and then being able to pitch these and combine these in a way that sound unique but still fit in that Jurassic Park world. I was actually really excited about it because it's been a step up in our sound design, and I'm sorry, I can't go on about that. It's something I've been wanting in our games for a long time. When we've got some new people in there who are doing a super awesome job, and I always give them so many props.
Well, 5 episodes? 4 episodes. 4 episodes out this autumn as well. Is everything written for those 4 episodes, and where are you at the moment for development?
We are currently, well, let's see. Everything is written. Episode 4, the last episode, is currently in production. It's getting, I think that's probably about midway through production, and all the other episodes are in various stages of closing those up. Something that's a little bit different than we've done before with Telltale is we're going to be releasing all 4 of these episodes at once, and that's because we're releasing for Xbox 360 on a retail disc. We want everybody to be able to receive these games at the same time, so we're not going to make anybody wait for the episodic downloads for this particular title. But in the future, going forward, we're going to keep committed to the episodic format. We're going to release them monthly. That works really, really well for us. It was just a really good opportunity for us this time to get onto that 360 disc.
And as I understand it, you do have an iPad 2 version in production. Yeah. Can you sort of just talk about slightly the control schemes in terms of how you've adapted that to the touchscreen?
Sure. During the production, we've been kind of consistently aware that this is going to be on different platforms. So we developed it simultaneously for a console controller. Also have a set of controls adapted for PC keyboard and mouse controls, and the iPad is definitely touch controls, and they all have different sort of interactions. And we found out early on that it's not one set of controls isn't going to mirror right on the other one, and we didn't want to shortchange anybody on the experience. So we spent a lot of time kind of reconfiguring how the controls are. So a gesture with a stick on a controller, maybe a different type of gesture with a mouse, maybe a swipe on the iPad. So they're kind of analog to one another, but they are specifically designed to get the most out of the platform that they are being created for.